In this section, we will go over map-specific pros and cons for each of the 3 launch maps, them being Voyage of Despair, 9, and Blood of the Dead. Also in this section, each map, depending on how good or bad a map, will offer a category 1 point, meaning this whole section offers 3 points for all maps to either side. This will mainly focus on gameplay aspects, map design, and new enemy types, and other new features. We will not cover main quest Easter eggs, as we have already done that, and I feel like covering gameplay of the maps is more important for this section anyways. Side Easter eggs will also not be included, as not a lot of people do them and they're more optional. The only type of quests we will cover are quests specifically related to new weapons or old weapons of the maps. Voyage of Despair, the map that takes place on the Titanic, and is a multi-layered, beautifully constructed map layout. Some of the rooms in the maps get disorienting, as some of the rooms more near the front of the ship all look the same. However, if you're ever able to remember a single bit of the layout, this should not be an issue for you. Perk locations are a little bit more questionable, however, in the layout of this map. The Danu perk is in Spawn, Ra is in the dining hall, Zeus is in the lounge, and Odin is all the way in the back of the ship in the engine room below the poop deck. These perk locations, to some players, are spread out a little too thin, making you have to run across the entire map if you lose all your perks. However, this can be remedied with the fast travel portal system, only slightly, because you actually have to remember which portal takes you where. Pack-a-Punch, Power, and the new water areas are surprisingly very accessible in this map. To turn on power, you simply go to the back of the ship and pick up the Sentinel artifact. After a brief animation, previous stores that had red icons on them will now be open, and more areas for you to explore. Note, grabbing the Sentinel artifact is also required to turn on the Pack-a-Punch and do specific weapon quests, and much more. To turn on the Pack-a-Punch, you must simply activate 4 stones at 4 different locations. Those locations are the bottom of the Grand Staircase, the lower level of the Fort Castle, or the front of the ship, the poop deck at the back of the ship, and finally, the lower level of the poop deck in the engine room. The main complaint with Pack-a-Punch is the fact that each location is randomized, and it changes location every 3 rounds. This again can be remedied with the fast travel portal system, once learned. So it's not a big con, but it's a con worth mentioning. The shield in this specific map is basically a different skinned version of the one in multiplayer. We will not go over the specific part locations because there are other videos for that. The only real complaint of the shield is that it doesn't have a unique design, and it's not integrated into the Easter eggs as much as other maps. Again, a con that is pretty small but worth mentioning. The new enemy types in Voyage of Despair are the Blightfather, Stoker, and Catalyst zombies. A cool addition with the Catalyst zombies is that specific alternate ammo types on specific catalysts do a severe amount of damage and can kill a whole horde, similar to Pokemon typing and how each type has a specific weakness, allowing the players to strategize with specific weapons and alternate ammo types, allowing more strategy. This feature would also be implemented into the other Chaos maps as well, them being 9, Dead of the Night, and Ancient Evil. So I will not mention this in the IX points, but it will still be included. Fire catalysts would explode similar to Shangri-La's Napalm Zombie. Ice zombies would increase damage and the health of the zombies and heal them. Lightning zombies would stun the player similar to a flashbang, somewhat temporarily blinding them. And the poison zombie, the most useless one, does chip damage when standing next to the player. The main complaint with catalysts was the fact that ice and fire catalysts are way too powerful, and the other two are almost completely useless when attempting to kill the player. Note, this point will also not be mentioned in the IX section, but will still be included. A new heavy zombie called the Stoker was introduced. He has two main attacks. One is throwing a fireball that does minimal damage and can be dodged very easily. The other attack is his charge attack, where he runs at you full speed and hits you with his shovel, doing an estimated damage of 100 or sometimes even 150 health. If you aim for his weak spots, where the charcoal pops out of his left or right shoulder, you will kill him much faster. If you manage to hit all of his weak points when you kill him for the first time, he will drop a key for the free Kraken Easter egg. If he does not drop the key, you will have to wait until another Stoker spawns. The main complaint with Stokers was the simple fact that they spawned way too often. And if the Stoker managed to catch you lower than 50 health and uses his fireball attack, he would manage to kill you without you being able to do anything. A new mini-boss was added called the Blightfather, a big praying mantis spore monster. He was introduced into IX as well. The main complaint of the Blightfather is that he simply absorbed too much damage and he was way too powerful in co-op games, allowing the game to spawn up to 3 of him in the map at once on high rounds. Also note, these points will be part of the IX section, but we will not be mentioning them, as we do not want to keep repeating the same points over and over. And finally, the new weapons added to the game are the new Monkey Bomb, that I will call the Tribal Man from now on, as I cannot actually pronounce his name correctly, and the Kraken Wonder Weapon, with 4 different elemental upgrades. The new Monkey Bombs are only earnable through the mystery box, so save those temporal gifts for when you see a fire sale. The Kraken Wonder Weapon is a triple pirate cannon that swaps between barrels after each shot. There are 2 ways to get the Kraken, either from the mystery box or a weapon side quest. To do the side quest, you must kill a Stoker and retrieve his key. Once you retrieve his key, you must go to 5 different locations scattered around the map and look for a chest. The locations are the meat room below the poop deck just before entering the engine room, the engine room right next to the Pack-a-Punch in the corner, the kitchen near the dining hall, near the Mog 12 wallby behind the door at spawn, not the stairs. Finally, the floor underneath the spawn next to the stairs. Once the chest is found and the key is retrieved, walk up to the chest and press the action button. The chest should open. You must collect souls by killing zombies next to the chest. Once you've collected enough souls, the chest will disappear to one of the other locations. Note, sometimes, but not all the time, the chest will teleport back to its previous location instantaneously, so keep this in mind. Once you've teleported the chest 4 times, and you find it for the 5th time, at a different location, or the same. Instead, this time you will see an item floating inside the chest. You must look for this item on the top deck of the ship, from the front top deck to the back side of the ship where the poop deck is on the top deck. Once you find the item, an actual Kraken tentacle will drop the Kraken Wonder Weapon where the item was. I will not be covering all the items' locations, as I do not want to make this video too long, and there are other guides for that. And I mainly give it as an explanation so people have an idea how the quest is like. To upgrade the Kraken to one of its elemental counterparts, you must first build a canister kit. I will not cover each part's specific locations on here as well. Once the kit is built on the crafting table near the engine room, you will now need a specific body part from a catalyst zombie to get to the specific upgrade that you need. Note, You must kill a catalyst zombie with the Kraken only for the specific body part that you are looking for to drop. The fire catalyst zombie will drop a flaming skull. The ice catalyst will drop a frozen foot. The poison catalyst will drop a green poison heart. And finally, the lightning catalyst will drop an electrocuted hand. It'll cost 3,000 points to upgrade to an element on an unpack-a-punch Kraken, and it will also cost 6,000 to upgrade to a different element if it is pack-a-punched. Now I will show you some quick gameplay of all the weapons, and then we will give a verdict on if Voyage of Despair is a good or bad map with 1 point on the line. Overall, in terms of gameplay, there's not much bad to say about this map, other than the somewhat wonky map design and perk location choice. For this reason, Voyage of Despair will get 1 point for good, as I could not find a lot of points for bad. Nine is a gladiatorial Roman arena, where you fight champions of the gods and other mythical creatures in an epic battle, where winner takes all and the losers become another corpse. A new enemy type of 9 are the 2 heavy zombies, the Destroyer and the Marauder. The Destroyer is a gladiator with full armor and 2 axes, and has 3 different attacks. The first one is where he simply throws an axe at a distance at the player. The second one is where he swings the axe when the player is at swinging distance. And finally, the third attack, which can only happen when he only has 1 arm left, where he will continuously swing his axe while running after you. Also, because of the amount of armor that he has, he can sustain a lot of damage, while the armor also makes the damage severely reduced. The main complaints with the Destroyer is the fact that he can spawn 3 of himself at once, and once one dies, it will be instantly replaced. On high rounds, you can have up to 15 of them spawning at once before they stop spawning, but remember, you can only have 3 in the map at a time. The other complaint of the Destroyer is the fact that his axe damage, when he throws them, is very inconsistent. Sometimes it'll do 50 damage, or even worse, it'll skyrocket all the way up to 150 damage. Now combine that with the fact that you have 3 of them throwing axes at you, and you can see the problem. The Marauder is a heavy zombie introduced that has less noticeable armor besides a helmet and sharp claws on his hands. He has 2 main attacks. The first attack is pretty simple with a single slash when the player is too close. The other is where he jumps and lunges at the player and does multiple slash attacks in succession, damage up to 200 health if the player sustains all hits. Luckily, this attack is extremely easy to dodge and leaves him extremely vulnerable. Plus the fact that he has less armor makes him very easy to kill. Again, the problem with the Marauder is the same as the Destroyer. You can have 3 of them in the map at once, and max 15 of them be able to spawn in high rounds, but remember, you only have 3 in the map. This can lead to some very overly chaotic scenarios, especially with these 2 in pairs of 3, with the Catalyst Zombies and the Blightfather chasing you as well, never giving you a chance to breathe. Another new enemy is the enhanced enemy category was added, the Zombie Tiger. The Tiger is basically a more beefier version of the Hellhound. It has 3 attacks, a simple paw swipe when you're too close, a jump and paw swipe, and then finally its lunge attack that is supposed to do 100 damage, but sometimes still, in its most recent patch, can still do up to 150 health sometimes. The complaint with the Tigers is the same as the Marauders and Destroyers. They simply spawn way too often. That with the combined fact that the lunge attack is able to one-shot you on specific difficulties makes this map way too chaotic. And yes, I'm aware of the fact that this is the point of the map, but I'm looking at it from a perspective of a new player that just wants to shoot zombies, and this formula is simply too chaotic and can be overwhelming at times. And also, this was the main complaint from casuals on this map. Pack-a-Punch and the Wonder Weapon really are the only 2 quests that we will mention because there's not many for this map. To turn on Pack-a-Punch, you must go to each of the perk locations associated with one of the gods. Danu, Ra, Zeus, and Odin, and press X on the Gon to summon one of the god's champions that you must defeat. After you defeat the champion will drop their head in a drop form. You must collect all 4 heads of the 4 champions of the separate gods. Once you have collected all 4 heads of the god's champions, you must go down to the lower level inside through the side entrances into the temple. Hold square or X to place all the 4 heads on the spikes where the Pack-a-Punch machine will be, and then Pack-a-Punch will soon open. To get the Wonder Weapon, you have 2 choices: to do the free Wonder Weapon quest, or get it from the box. We will not go over the free Wonder Weapon quest as I have never done it, and generally it's pretty easy to get from the box. Also, this weapon does not have any elemental upgrades. You just simply put it in the Pack-a-Punch machine and upgrade it. The complaint with the Wonder Weapon is that it's not very good at killing zombies in high rounds. It is more of a support Wonder Weapon. The new Bull Shield was added with a detachable blade that can also reattach itself and shoot flames. We will not be going over the part locations in this video as well. The general problem with this shield is that 2 of its attacks can actually affect and damage itself, making it the easiest shield to break, forcing the player to do the side quest or use talismans to increase durability and upgrade it. Map design generally flows pretty well in this map, especially as each god temple has a specific perk in a specific location, and it flows very nicely. And now for the final verdict on if this is a good or bad map. Based off of the statistics that I have found, while it is the point of this map, the map is generally way too chaotic and has way too enemies getting thrown at you, similar to World War II zombies, never giving you a break, never allowing you to breathe, and you're barely shooting zombies half the time. Also, the wonder weapon is generally pretty weak, along with the shield being way too easy to break. For these reasons, bad will get 1 point based off of the sheer fact that many of the new weapons, although few, are not that powerful and force the player to rely on the specialist weapons way too much, especially with the amount of special enemies spawning. While there definitely were some pros to be mentioned, like map layout and setting, they simply do not overpower the fact that this map is just so damn chaotic, but you never have a chance to breathe, and the weapons, they are pretty lackluster at times. Even if it's the simplest map to get into, simplicity does not mean it's good. And now we will move on to Blood of the Dead, and then my final opinions, which will not count towards score or points. Blood of the Dead is a remake of the fan-favorite Mob of the Dead, taking place in the Alcatraz prison, with a truly ominous setting making you feel that you're actually there, part of the prisoner's stories. Many returning features of Mob of the Dead, such as Brutus, the Hell's Retriever, and the Blundergat return. To turn on power, you must go to the opposite building of New Industries and flip the first power switch. Once the first power switch is flipped, you must cross the catwalk. The catwalk is a start game event where zombies with large numbers can run at you at fast speeds even if you're on a low round, allowing you to get some quick, easy points at the start of the game. Once you cross the catwalk into the prison after killing all the zombies and dogs, to fully turn on power, you must go all the way down to the docks, flip the last power switch in the previously hidden room that you could only get into in Afterlife back in Mob. The complaint of the catwalk was the fact that people said it was too hard to handle, which is clearly untrue, as you can pass the whole catwalk on round 1 if you really want to. To turn on Pack-a-Punch, you must craft the shield and suck the souls of zombies with the key. After you suck 3 zombie souls into the key, you will get a soul blast. Once you get your soul blast, you must head to the roof and soul blast the electric meter that it used to shock in Afterlife back in Mob. After this, every 3 rounds, the Pack-a-Punch machine will move to either the docks, where the power switch is, the building where the first power switch is, near spawn, or the roof where you turned it on. The main complaint of Pack-a-Punch was the docks location, as the location does not have a quick, accessible way to get to it besides the gondola. Brutus was reintroduced into Blood, has the same design and same attacks, but this time he is much more beefier and can tank much more damage. The only new thing about him is the fact that now he can do an electric slam attack past round 17. Hellhounds, although not new, were added to Blood of the Dead. At the launch of this map, this was the most disliked enemy in the entire map, as they were way too fast for players, and players even said it felt like they had armor when shooting them. Nowadays, though, this point doesn't really hold much value, especially considering the vast amount of patches that they've went through. They're incredibly slow now, and the player can even outrun them, and only a certain amount of hellhounds can be in the map at once, drastically reducing their power. The Hell's Retriever was also reintroduced, but this time with some slight changes. For starters, only one of the dogs that you feed 6 zombies to has its original location, being the Cell Blocks dog. The other 2 dogs are at the New Industries building and the Warden's house. It's the same deal with different locations. Fill each dog with 6 zombies, and then afterwards you'll be able to get the Hell's Retriever. To get the Hell's Retriever after this is a little different as well. You must either go to the fast travel at the Warden's house or the showers. Then, while you're traveling through, you will see the Hell's Retriever floating above a spiky rock. Hold X to retrieve it. The only real complaint of the Retriever is the fact that it's not as strong as it used to be, and it has a harder time picking up power-ups. While yes, the drop-off of damage is not great, I never really noticed it having issues picking up drops. The new fast travel system was introduced. You can fast travel from New Industries to Cafeteria or vice versa, and the Warden's house to the showers or vice versa. The complaint of fast travel was the fact that there's simply not enough of them around the map for such a large map. While I don't really agree with this, I would say that the amount of fast travels that there are is pretty fine. And finally, the last point, the Blundergat, and one of its new upgrades along with its 2 old ones. To get the normal Blundergat unpacked, you simply go around the map with the Retriever like you did back in Mob and pick up 5 different skulls. I will not show the different skulls' locations here. Once all the skulls are required, head back up to the Warden's office, where you picked up the Blundergat from his desk back in Mob, and the gun should appear. Then, to simply get the non-elemental upgrade, simply bring the normal Blundergat to the Pack-a-Punch machine and upgrade it. To get the Acid upgrade, you must build the Acid kit with 3 separate parts. I will also not show where these parts locations are. Once built at a crafting bench, put your Blundergat inside the Acid kit and wait a few seconds. Once the suitcase reopens, you now have the Acid kit. Now for the new upgrade, the Magmagat. To get the Magmagat, you must bring your Blundergat to the Warden's house and place it in the fireplace. You must kill zombies and collect the blue orb souls that come out after killing them. Once enough souls have been collected, all 3 skulls on top of the fireplace should be burning a blue fire. Go back up to your Blundergat and press X and wait for a few seconds. Then pick up your weapon, and now you will have to run all your way back to the New Industries building while trying to keep it lit by running into barrels with blue flames. Once you reach the New Industries building, go over and press X on the pressing machine, wait a few seconds, let the ghosts do their thing, and now you have the Magmagat. The only real complaint of the upgrades for this weapon is that the Acid Cat is severely weaker than the Magma version, and it's just a copy and paste of the Acid version. This is a silly point in my opinion because the Acid Cat does have its uses for camping and other types of strategies. The shield also got a new design. It's a prison door with a key. You must suck souls to get shield blasts. This shield, also note, is extremely required for the Easter egg, as there are many things that are hidden within its ghost vision when you're about to blast something. The only real complaint of the shield is the fact that Blood of the Dead is over-reliant on the shield, especially considering it is the Afterlife replacement. Which is also a silly point, considering the fact that you cannot technically be dead. So of course the shield had to be the replacement for it. My complaint with the shield mainly is the fact that he is not very strong. The map design is also quite nice in this map, with the newer areas adding more character to it. Overall, in my verdict for Blood of the Dead being a good or bad map, good will get 1 point, simply because of all of the bad arguments kind of being weak, and a lot of the good things have pretty strong arguments. Now we will move on to my opinions, and then we will show the final score at the end. Hello. So now we're going to go off script a little bit, so we're going to go into my opinions now on the actual game, and I'm about to really go hard into this, and then we're going to talk about how much better Black Ops 4 is than Vanguard, because I'm pretty sure it's obvious to everyone that Black Ops 4 is much better, especially because the whole fucking community has been playing it as of recently. And then we're going to jump into the final verdict, the final score. I didn't reveal it for a reason. Maybe it's because of the fact that, But anyways, so we're going to start off from the launch of Black Ops 4. As my opinions, the launch was never going to be a good thing. It never was. The problem with the launch was just the fact that Treyarch just did not communicate with anyone. And the fact that they removed so many core features of other zombie titles wasn't a great idea at all. I think it was kind of a silly mistake, honestly. Don't get me wrong. I like the features, but I like the new perk system. I love the specialists. But what I think they should have done, instead of just horseshoeing it in, is keep the old stuff, but add the new stuff with it. So, have the old perk system right here. Keep that, but also add the new perk system here. Because then that way, the host can choose which one they want. And honestly, the choice of player style is also taken away drastically. Black Ops 4, I feel like if you're only playing for Easter eggs, you have to be kind of hardcore-ish. And the high round portion, it's kind of up in the air. I haven't went for an actual round 100 yet. Just want to preface. But I have gotten to round 70 on some maps. And I will say it was a little easy, but then again, that's what the difficulties are for. But my main problem with the launch was that Treyarch just simply was not communicating with anyone. And as for the innovations and changes to the game mode as a whole, the talismans, all the shit that I went over was amazing. But again, they could have had the old perk and gobblegum system and then have the new stuff. I don't understand why they had to make a whole new system, especially because things like when they nerfed, this is in the other section after this, when they nerfed the elixirs, the classic ones, that and Dead of the Night's launch were the reasons why I stopped playing this game, because the mega elixirs at the time were completely useless. It was impossible to even get them half the time because contracts weren't still in the game. which they took forever to get out, by the way. They didn't touch Rush.
It's 3 o'clock.
Gauntlets is a fucking mess. Let me just turn that down. And oh man, I just that elixir patch where the cooldown was drastically longer was such an unnecessary thing, and that's what really killed my vibe, was that they were just constantly changing things that were not needing of changing. It was like they were calling the patches the new events and stuff, basically. Like, oh, get a new red dot sign in your fucking weapon kind of thing. And that's not what the community was asking for. And instead, you got slapped in the face for it. Obviously now, elixirs and talismans are way freaking easier to get. In fact, there's a double Nebulium week going right now in Black Ops 4. I don't know how long it'll last for, but on the time of this video being released, which will be soon, go to that event week and play some if you have Black Ops 4. So, yeah. And you read the community's positive and negative opinions on it. I was genuinely surprised by how many people, for some reason, were praising the Easter eggs. I didn't really understand that. Especially because I'm not one of those people that like them. So, I was expecting a lot more people to dislike the Easter eggs. And as I put in my Easter egg subcategory in the Ether, Chaos and Ether subcategory, I said that at the start of the game, a lot of people were not interested, and a lot of the Easter eggs were pretty bad. I'm just being honest. The statistics and math do not lie. And then we get to the map-specific stuff. So this is where I really wanted to get my opinions out. We're going to talk about 9 first. How do I put this lightly so then people can calm down? I don't like 9 as much as Voyage. I said it. Don't butcher me. And it's just sheerly because of what all the casuals were saying about it. It's too chaotic. Like, literally, half the time you're playing the fucking map, you're getting bombarded by destroyers half the time. And if it's not them, it's definitely the catalysts. Especially those fucking ice ones. And if it's not those things, it's the tigers. Because you never see Blightfathers, ever. Blightfathers and Chaos maps are like a fucking rarity. You never see them half the time. Which is why the mini-boss contracts take forever to get on those fucking maps. And the other thing, look, I'm pretty sure I don't need to tell you this, but that Scorpion Wonder Weapon is really not good. I just didn't like it. Not to mention the fact that it's built like a support weapon again. Kind of like the VR11 and stuff. And the reason why the Ray Gun Mark III support Wonder Weapon works a lot better than this thing is that it can kill up to around 50, and then you can use its slow ability for other things. This, it's just literally stunning big zombies half the time. Not a really good utility unless you're doing the Easter egg. So, I mean, it can slow down zombies permanently if it doesn't kill them. That's good, at least. But yeah, other than that, this not really good. And the monkey bomb thing, this is for both Voyage and IX in the opinions. He's alright, but he has the same problem with the monkey bombs and the ether maps. He takes really long to throw. But he's not as long as the monkey bombs. The monkey bombs take for fucking ever to throw. And the bull shield, I mean, like I said, it's the easiest shield to break in the entire fucking game because of how many gladiators are throwing things at you, how many catalysts, the fire ones are exploding, how many tigers are attacking you, the Plight Father, which is projectile attacks, which I completely forgot about. I forgot he could do that attack. So, and pretty much the only way you can upgrade it, or the only way to keep it, I mean, is to upgrade it. And if you're doing casual, you have to do the talismans. You don't get a choice. The classic, there's many options, but do you really want to go that far for a shield? You know? It's a fucking shield. Like, if we're talking like Garad Crovey level type shield, then yes, I would go for it. But it's the bull shield. So, not to mention the fact that one of its attacks damages itself. Like, why is that a thing? Last time I checked, the blade and the shield are two separate entities. Why is the blade, when hitting things, damaging the shield? That doesn't make any sense. And it, in fact, just deters people from even using the bloody thing half the time. And my biggest problem with 9, just like the casuals, like I said before, is the amount of enemies. It's excessive. It's literally like World War II zombies all over again. And for any of y'all watching this video that know me personally, I fucking hate World War II zombies. I hate that game mode so much. Maybe a future video, if you guys request it enough. But I can tell you for a fact I won't be playing it. Now, Voyage. This one's gonna be a hot topic and a hot take. Okay. Voyage, in the context of the story only, yes, it's bad. But its gameplay, I would argue, can rival 9's. And the reason I say that is because the layout isn't as bad as some people make it out to be. It actually can be remembered. Yes, it's harder to remember than some other ones, but once you play it enough times, you'll get it to know it. It's not that hard to remember. And another thing, there's 2 points on why I like Voyages more. The least amount of enemies. So, the thing that Voyage does that I really fucking like is that only one Stoker can spawn in solo in the map at once. But you can still get like up to like a billion of them in a round. But only one can be at the map at a time. That's a good thing. Catalysts not only are extremely toned down in this map, believe it or not, if you use the different elemental krakens and you use it on a element that is weak to your kraken's element, I didn't know this, it actually kills them a lot faster. Not to mention the fact that the krakens are just way fucking better. Easily the best two are the fire and lightning one. Don't use the poison one ever, it's trash. I was actually surprised that the normal unelement one was fucking doing better. So yeah. And the ice one, you'd only use for camping with like Stone Cold. So, unless you're doing that, there's really no point in even bringing it. And other than that, man, like, I actually like the gameplay. Like, playing Rush on Voyage is actually really fun. And it's non-hard gauntlet, because Voyage is the only map that has a hard gauntlet. It's actually not that bad. And you know, the Pack-a-Punch, getting the Sentinel artifact, like, a lot of things on Voyage seem hard until you do them. The map's very simple, and I like that. 9 is too, but again, the amount of stupid enemies jumping at you all the time is really annoying. Okay. Time to talk about a map that a lot of people shit on. A lot of people. And look, I get the disappointment, but I feel like people are a little bit too harsh on this map. Blood of the Dead. Look, same thing with Voyage, okay? In the context of the story and the Easter eggs, yes, it's not great. But if you strip that away from it and look at it as its own thing, the gameplay is not that bad. It's actually pretty fun. And I'd be lying if I said that Blood of the Dead is not my most played map on Black Ops 4. It is. The setting of it, like, the new Magmat's cool, but here's the thing that I find. You don't need the Retriever. You don't need the Blundergat. You don't need that stuff. That's stuff if you want. Because, like, I play Blood of the Dead all the time, and half the time I don't even get the fucking Blundergat. I just get the Retriever to pick up drops if I can't get to them. And you don't have to do that stuff. I feel like there's this illusion of people thinking that you have to do a lot of the upgrade quests or weapon quests in maps to do a good time. No, you don't. I don't know where this myth started, but you don't. In the catwalk, it's really not that bad. It's really not. Like, I don't understand why people are so harsh on this. And yes, the docks is kind of the most annoying area to get to. You still have the gondola to get to it. Is it a good solution? No. But is it a solution that's better than having nothing? Yes. And I actually have a personal reason for liking this map. A real personal reason, actually. During Black Ops 4's failure of a launch, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one here. 2018 was the most depressing year of my life. I don't think I need to tell anyone that. Black Ops 4's year was not it. So, while I hated Blood at the time, the more I started playing it, and the more I started playing it, I didn't like it. I was kind of neutral with it. But then, when Noah J's house caught on fire, and all that other tragic stuff happened, I would just go back to Blood of the Dead. I don't know why I wanted to play it, but it was like that old friend that you secretly hated at one time. And then you go back to him, and he's just there for you. When you're always depressed. Maybe it's because of the fact that the map itself understands what it feels like to be depressed all the time, ridiculed, and all this other bullshit. This map, at one point, saved me. I don't want to get too much into it, but there's a lot of personal attachment with this map, and I feel like a lot of people hate on it, but don't try to ever understand it. And that's the truly sad part. And every time I walk through Blood, it's just like, it's like the map is aware that it's disappointing everybody. And that's kind of sad. It just got this ominous, sad tone every time I play it. And at one point, when I needed this map the most, and that was pretty sad, I went to play it one day, and I just thought that this was the day that I was just gonna end it all. But I played Blood, and it changed my mind. So, yeah, I have a lot of personal attachment to Blood. I actually owe my life to this map. Because if it wasn't for this map, I would not be sitting here in front of you. So, yeah. Overall, these are all of my opinions on Black Ops 4. And just want to preface, this is just before the verdict. I'm sure everyone's wondering why this turned into a playlist series. I'm deeply sorry. I planned on putting this into like a 2-hour long video or something like that. But the fact is that my equipment that I'm recording on right now, that you can see through my glasses, it's not that great. It doesn't have that much gigabyte storage. And I can't upload big clips through my editor because of it. It's unfortunate, but I have to deal with it. So I had to split all of the video into 4 parts. So I hope this is enough for you. Just remember that I mentioned the playlist at the start, black card, of each part besides part 1 and 4. Because the playlist is extremely key to make this series much more convenient for you all. And one final thing before we give the verdict. Vanguard. This game mode is genuinely awful. If you go back to part 1 and read all those tweets and that section where I just showed off everyone tweeting about how terrible it was, then you'll quickly understand that it's just not that great. Like, you don't get Pack-a-Punch skins, you don't get round-based even. It's just basically a fucking copy and paste of fucking Tortured Path, the worst World War II DLC. Are you kidding me? It's a fucking joke, man. And people like to say that, oh, Treyarch made it just because Activision said so. No. I refuse to believe for a single second that Treyarch willingly made a game mode that was based off of Tortured Path features. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Okay? I don't. And the people that are being complacent and giving these people excuses, like, for example, yes, the developers are under the firm power of Activision, but the developers also have the self-responsibility for self-respect. You're seriously sitting there and telling me that Treyarch, or whoever the fuck, wanted to release this? No. This is why I also don't believe it's Treyarch. Because Sledgehammer would do this. Treyarch wouldn't. They say it's Treyarch, but I don't think so. I think behind closed doors, they know who exactly is developing this fucking game. And it's just absolutely fucking disgusting. Not to mention, there's no wonder weapons, there's no nothing. Like, if you haven't checked my friend out, Mooman TV, he'll be in the description. He made a perfect video describing how the community felt. Actually, 2 videos, actually. I'll put them in the description. Yeah. Basically, Vanguard's terrible. And the numbers have proven it, basically. So, yeah. Anyways, the final verdict. The final verdict. With the last section of Black Ops 4's Blood of the Dead, this is the score. Yep, that's the score. Just also note that this is not the final score. Remember, I said that I still have to make the videos on the DLC maps, including Classified. So this is not the finalized score. But for now, until I can get around to making those videos, because I'm not doing it right now, because I'm taking a break for a bit, because this whole project took me 2 weeks. But yes, this is not the finalized score. Anyways, thank you all for watching this 2-hour long series, or maybe even 3-hour. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, maybe share it with your friend. Also, ring the bell to get notified about my recent videos. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.